If you crack first, Dave, it won't make you any less of a man.
I'm nowhere near cracking.
Neither am I, my friend.
Dave. And Matthew, what is it now? For God's sake, no one's smoking, okay? But nothing! You know what we need around here is an anti-whining ordinance. So just sip your sniveling little lip and all your skinny ass out.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. We've had some big breaking news in the last 24 hours. Marvel Comics have switched creators from the Hulk, or I guess Immortal Hulk creator Al Ewing is moving over to Venom, and the Venom writer Donny Cates is moving over to Hulk. I find this to be very exciting. They are not bringing their artists with them, which I think probably would have been better. But here with me to talk about this and all the stuff that's going on at Marvel is my good friend Perch from the Comics by Perch podcast. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
I didn't see this one coming. I knew that Donny Cates would have a new project since he was leaving Venom. We knew that Immortal Hulk was ending, but I thought the word was that they were going to continue Immortal Hulk in these one-shots in these limited series. Did this come out of nowhere? Is this part of the long-term plan for Marvel?
I think, they did say they were going to do the one-shots, but I think it was likely. It was always kind of likely we would get a new Hulk series, especially with the Hulk, in theory, being one of the characters that I think the MCU will continue with in different formats, it sounds like. So I'm not terribly surprised about that. And then of the two, Donny Cates has made comments about having good story ideas for the Hulk and that he loves the Hulk. So there was kind of some lead up. This news on his side was not as surprising to me. I think the other direction is a little bit more surprising with Al Ewing and Ram V on Venom was the more that was the more surprising one to me.
Well, let's talk about Venom first. As you mentioned, Al Ewing will be the writer along with Ram V, one of our favorite up and coming writers, and I believe Brian Hitch is going to be the artist.
Yeah, for the great first two issues that Marvel puts them on, like they do with all their no, sorry, that's too negative. That's too negative right out the gate. Yeah, I'm excited to see Brian Hitch on it. I hope that it's for more than 2 issues.
So do I. He did a great job on Hawkman. He got a full 12-issue run, and that was a nice year of work there. Mm-hmm. So the last time that we saw Al Ewing co-writing was, what was that, Empire with Dan Slott?
Yep, that's right. Felt
like it did not enhance his work. How's that?
No, I didn't particularly care for that. I think that Al Ewing was in that Avengers No Surrender, I believe, with Mark Waid and Jim Zub, and that one was a better collaboration. I generally am a little skeptical about these collaborations overall. I always think there's probably one person loosely plotting stuff and another person doing all the work is generally how I think it goes out, but we'll see. My feeling on the collaboration is by issue 4 to 6, one of those people will be gone and it will be back to a solo title. So we'll see.
Well, obviously Al Ewing's doing Sword. He's going to continue doing Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he's got a couple other things. So me personally, I would prefer Ram V to just write it or Al Ewing to write it. But yeah. We'll see if they can come up with some interesting stuff. Obviously, Donny Cates has changed a lot in the Venom universe in the two and a half years that he had on that title. Yep. Are they going to continue what he started, or are they going to take Venom in a new direction and Eddie Brock, and it looks like Flash Thompson's back, and we got Dylan Brock and a lot of new things and new toys to play with in that universe?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll pick up on some of those threads. It does look from the promo art that Venom's going to space and that he's going to
make sense.
Be in command of his Venom RV. You see a bunch of other kind of symbiote humanoid-looking creatures flying around with him in space. So it feels like that's what we're getting. And that fits, of course, the Al Ewing side of the world. The Rum V part could be more of the horror-ish aspect of, who knows? I mean, that it could be a split type book of some space adventures, some more traditional Venom things. Hard to say, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see if this turns out like a good sci-fi book, maybe with some horror elements like Al Ewing was able to pull off in Immortal Hulk, or if it's Venom Space Knight that we got in the past. Like which version are we getting here?
I'm a little disappointed he didn't get to bring Joe Bennett with him. It felt like he's like at the top of his game, and he's one of the best horror artists out there. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's maybe because they wanted more of the space aspect? Not that I have anything wrong with Brian Hitch; he's a wonderful artist as well. I don't. I'm curious where Joe Bennett winds up.
I think this is an artist who delivered consistently for Marvel and did work close to a monthly schedule. He, I think, had a lot of good acclaim on his book. There was this controversy that hit right at the end, and I hope that isn't going to haunt him. But I wonder if it will, if they're going to quietly kind of phase him out. But hopefully he will be on a book again soon. And I think having him do some space elements. I mean, Bennett did do some space stuff. I mean, not much, but a little bit in Hulk, and he can do it. So that's a little disappointing. But like you said, I'm excited to see Hitch on the book. I just, I want Marvel to break their streak of putting really quality artists on the title for like 2 issues to get it going and then subbing it out. So let's not do that.
I do like the idea of maybe taking Eddie Brock in the symbiote army away from Earth. They almost took over the Earth. A lot of things were happening. Maybe it's time to take that army out for a spin somewhere else and see what other adventures you can get into, and maybe expand the lore of all the things that have kind of been established by Donny Cates over the last few years. He put in a lot of work. I imagine you kind of got to go with it since it's been so popular.
I would think so. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be one of those where after, say, 4 issues, people should go into it with an open mind. After 4 issues, we'll know which direction it's going. It will either be a pretty cool, kind of like Ewing was able to pull off with Hulk, something we didn't expect, but winds up being pretty neat around kind of space and those elements, or it's going to be terrible. But I think we'll know very quickly which direction it's going to go.
So interestingly enough, we'll go over to the Hulk book. It's not Immortal Hulk. It's resetting back to Hulk. Donny Cates, Ryan Ottley. Mm-hmm. I like Ryan Ottley. It feels like Spider-Man would have been the best fit. He's already done that character, so we'll see if he can do more of the Hulk, the horror elements of Hulk. That body horror, kind of gore stuff. This one's, to me, the more exciting one. I think Donny Cates is like, he's the A-list writer at Marvel Comics right now. Mm-hmm. And he's getting a hotter title than the last one. Like Thor was in an okay place, but it wasn't really hot when he got a hold of it. Immortal Hulk isn't as hot as it was, at Immortal Hulk like 20 or whatever, but it's still a well-known title. And I think that he can probably, that might be pushing for the #1 seller at Marvel Comics for quite some time once he takes over, if it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could elevate that book. It does sound like he's going a different direction. He won't do as much the horror elements and do more of the Carnage Smash elements. This idea of kind of extreme ways to control the Hulk rage. It sounds, the lead up to it sounded a lot like the Hulk title when Mark Silvestri was on the book. I think it was Jason Aaron and Mark Silvestri way back when that run of the Hulk was going on. We'll see. I'm curious from the solicitations, and granted, we're reading like a paragraph. It doesn't sound like too much of the Al Ewing Immortal Hulk run is carrying over, but we'll see. It's hard to tell, but it feels like a more grounded Hulk than we've had for the last couple of years. Definitely, Cates is good at kind of playing up big action and big moments and some violence and kind of those WTF moments. And so that should play well with the Hulk. And if they do it right, like you said, I think this could be certainly a top 5 book. It's funny at Marvel right now, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it, but what is a top 5 book at Marvel right now? It's kind of a weird list. It's, Donny
Spider-Man, Thor.
Yeah. I mean, Ed Venom previously when Cates was on it, but it's not who you would expect. And so I think it would be very, very easy for, some buzz on this title. Ottley, again, keep Ottley on the book for 12 issues. Please, for the love of God, just start now and get 12 issues out of him. I think that would be great.
Well, he hasn't been doing Spider-Man for quite a while. It's been at least 6 months.
Yeah.
He's done anything. You're hoping that he's got some stuff in the bag.
You really hope so. I mean, I think some of these books were intended to come out a little earlier and were delayed due to them wanting to kind of line up a bunch of big releases for the Penguin Random House deal. It starts in October. And that's definitely Marvel's trying to load the deck so they can come out strong for at least a quarter with a bunch of new launches. Expected to see, we'll get a Captain America new book in the same time frame. We'll get a new Miss Marvel book. We'll get a handful of the kind of missing in action titles in this period. So, I'm hoping that they're using this time to get ahead and just shock the world and give us 12 issues straight of the same creative team. That would be amazing.
So one of the big calling cards of Donny Cates when he takes over a title now, he makes wholesale changes.
Yeah.
He basically reinvented the relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote, where it was like a codependent kind of relationship where there's almost like some psychological abuse going on over Thor. Thor assumes the throne. Things aren't going his way. He really changed a lot of things. He obviously changed the meaning of Galactus, where now he was the herald of the Black Winter and a lot of things of that nature. So if you're a big Hulk fan, be ready for change, because he's probably going to implement some major changes pretty early. Yeah,
I would say so. I don't think it's going to be as rough and jarring as maybe it was for people coming into the Al Ewing book that got this body horror. There was a major change for the character. I don't think it'll be that extreme, but absolutely, I'm with you. I think there will be some. The one thing that we'll see, which will be nice if you've been a Hulk fan, is I do think we're going to get an elevated sense of the character. The Hulk's going to have a more central, major part to the Marvel Universe, and that'll be nice.
You see him rejoining the Avengers anytime soon, or maybe starting up a new. Well, I guess he won't be on the Defenders. We've already seen that one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's a limited series, but I don't know. Cates has made some comments in the past about not loving doing team books. So we'll see. I still think that the end game for Donny Cates is to get him on the Avengers at some point. That feels like a destiny that's on his way. Once Jason Aaron kind of wraps up his stuff, because Aaron has his 50th issue coming up, and he's making the noise about status quo changing, all the threads come together, and on and on. So I think at some point, but them elevating Hulk definitely would in time put him on an Avengers team, I would think.
I love Hulk. Yeah. I love what Al Ewing did for the first 23 issues. Immortal Hulk 25 was just too weird for me.
Yeah.
Just kind of lost my own after that. But it's great to have an amazing, impactful Hulk series where he's just smashing things. Maybe he doesn't mean to, but he's just this enormous rage monster getting into trouble. And hopefully that's kind of where Donny Cates take it. I hope we're going to get to see the leader too. I think that's such an interesting character.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to. It'd be really nice if he could kind of revive some of the Hulk's kind of rogues gallery, which hasn't had a lot of love in the recent years, and do a little bit more for pushing that stuff. Cates is good at kind of bringing some kind of jokey threats from the past and making them deadly and significant and giving people some real heavyweights to work with, and that is what the Hulk needs, and that would be great to have.
I'm going to be honest. I will absolutely be reading both of these comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited by both creative teams. When I saw the news, I was like, this makes sense. I like that they're switching up. Both teams they're both got their milestones coming up. Move them over to the other characters. More excited for Hulk, just because I kind of dig Donny Cates' writing style a little bit more. But I'm excited that they're not just forgetting Venom either.
Yeah, no, it's we're in for a season between October and March of. Everything will be a new number one, and we'll see some new creative teams and
wholesale reboots across the entire Marvel line.
Wholesale restarts, at least, but hopefully the announcements are good and they keep going. And yeah, like you, I'm glad to see them making some changes and shaking some stuff up, and they'll get some attention.
It's crazy. Obviously, DC Comics has ended a lot of their exclusives. We do see Brian Hitch coming over and doing some Venom work. You think we might see a surprise or two from DC Comics maybe coming over and working on some characters that people have wanted to see for a while?
There's a lot of rumors swirling right now. Absolutely. I do think this is there will be more for sure.
Get Peter J. Tomasi on Captain America. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that would be a great pick.
All right, Perch, is there any more rumors or news out there that we should be talking about before we wrap this up?
It's just over the next 4 weeks, I think we're going to get a lot of announcements like this. And it's exciting. We'll see what comes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later, brother.
Take it easy.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter @Wes_from_TC.
With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.